Greetings, beloveds. I am always honored that I get to speak. And today, I'm honored that you have chosen to share sacred time with me. For it's a moment of spiritual engagement. It's a moment of joy, and it's a moment of love. So I will share the affirmation this morning that we spoke together from practitioner Andy Tureen again, because I think it's important that we are reminded. Quote, I am partnered with the divine in all my endeavors. A successful outcome is inevitable. I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and give yourself a big hug and say with me, I am partnered with the divine. I feel the love of spirit within. One more time. I am partnered with the divine. I feel the love of spirit within. Take in one more deep breath and open your eyes and know with me that that was a holy moment. Spelled W-H-O-L-L-Y. Because to me, holy is the whole of it and the inner H-O-L-Y, holy. It's a completeness that I use for myself. Whole, perfect, complete. How did that make you feel? Well, for me, I felt a realization of the truth of me, the greater truth of me, a greater feeling of wholeness and peacefulness and indeed calm. You know, many of you know that I'm called Wonder Man because I wonder about a lot of stuff. I wonder about things in life, and today I was called to wonder about words. I love words and their meanings. And so I looked up some synonyms for the word whole, W-H-O-L-E. And some of those are intact, restored, and perfect. Whole, intact, restored, perfect. And I think in these times, there's such a yearning for this feeling of wholeness. In The Science of Mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes tells us on 365, and I quote, if our human relations are to mean the most to us, we must sense that there is hidden within, around, and through each of us a divine presence manifesting itself in infinite variations. The same impulse, the same love and life, but never quite alike in any two persons. In other words, the divine presence is whole, complete, and ready, willing, and able to complete itself uniquely through us. I had the good pleasure of observing a 2-year-old at our home this last weekend. A lot of James' family had gathered in Chico, evacuated out of the fire from Quincy. And so the whole family gathered in our backyard. And here was this 2-year-old. Cute, running, screaming, yelling with joy, giggling, and before long, he was his natural self. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, wow, the joy of a child. And all of us were having that same sense of feeling, knowing that here's this child who has not experienced what we have as adults, without any concern except his own joy. And so that tells me that around us are all these examples of joy, if we but pause to see them. What I know is from that child that we are born into this life whole, as love. And we are afforded the great gift of self-mastery over our life, just our life. And this is done through the agreements we make, the commitments we have to ourselves. First and foremost, to ourselves. The old saying, the buck stops here. The belief stops here. The agreements come from here, within. And we each have not only equal, but also ample love and joy and life to provide. We are providers, beloveds. We are providers of our spirit to another spirit, from a life to another life. We can bring love. We can bring something else. It's our choice. It's always our choice. We always manifest forward. We always express our life in a forward motion. That's called the wonder to me. What's back behind us is our history, a great learning tool. But if I've learned one thing about my history, it does not have to define me. It can refine me, and it does. When we manifest forward, we marry one belief atop another. And what I'm calling, if we do it from love, holy matrimony. Now, human marriage is a relationship based on love and commitment, compassion, honor, and respect. Spiritually, holy matrimony, or that union, is pure intimacy, partnering with the beloved in a sense of unity and completeness and wholeness. And so each time we embrace this greater idea of spiritual intimacy, by focusing upon the pure inner God self, we experience a state that's been referred to as pure bliss. And in this bliss is the perfect mental state to what I call give birth. To give birth to something forward, to manifest a joyous life, one that we all deserve. And speaking of intimacy, our book of the month is Thomas Keating. It's like, there we go. Intimacy with God. It's an introduction to centering prayer. And I'll read just a little nugget for your curiosity, for your wonder. It's a wonderful book, and it speaks of the origin of the Christian faith and how the ideas of oneness in God and intimacy and relationship sort of began in teaching. In the chapter on divine therapy, and here's the quote: God brings people and events into our lives and takes them out again to show us other things we need to see about ourselves. Intimacy, those inner places that give us reason to express, either out or withdraw. It's that intimate place. Now, that said, there's a lot of conflict and drama, which I term conflama, appearing in the world right now, isn't there? And here are some words to wonder about. This is what we hear: pandemic, protest, homeless, discriminate, recession, depression, suppression, poverty, and brutality. And all these words are whirling and swirling around us, outside of us. We, as compassionate beings, as loving beings, have feelings around those words. I know I do. You? Do you? Our feelings, our reactions, and our actions toward these or anything else magnifies them. And it manifests them into the future of our experience if we focus on them alone. So, beloveds, let's take a moment to move from the outside sense of those words. And I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and to check in with your inner self. Taking a breath, I ask you, what is your reaction inside yourself to the words protest, poverty, oppression, suppression? What do you see? How do you feel? Brutality, homeless, pandemic. Remember, you are in intimacy and partnered in spirit right now in a very focused way. What are your feelings right now about these words? They're real because you're feeling them. And they have an opportunity to reveal where it is you may choose to heal. So take a few moments with yourself. I invite you to consider some new words. Some new words. Here are a few of mine. Protest. My new words are accept with love. Poverty. My new words are abundance in all life. Oppression. My new words are embrace, lift up. Brutality. My new word is compassion. Homeless. My new words are safe shelter. And pandemic, the word pandemic. My new words are contagious well-being. Take a few moments, breathe. Now take in a full and loving breath and open your eyes when you're ready. We've been reminded here this morning that since March 2020, we truly are in this together. We're in this together as a collective spiritual community, and that each contribute to that which we are experiencing. So what will it be? What is the new and more true way to be during these times? I believe is remembering that we are born of love, that we are kind and compassionate, and to remain calm and centered in the truth of who we are. I know it's a challenge. I know there are words that fly around my life from time to time, and sometimes from within my mind, that are in conflict with that. And so I bring myself back to the reality of who I am spiritually. And it's none of those things in the outer world that I call conflammable right now. So I choose not to contribute to that. I'm not turning a blind eye toward what is happening. But here again, these are areas that we, as a human consciousness, are called to heal. But we need to do it by coming together. The Science of Mind textbook Ernest Holmes wrote on page 463, and it's titled From the Teaching of Jesus. When one separates himself from the divine fire, he becomes an isolated spark. We are strong only when united with life. As soon as our consciousness is detached from spiritual wholeness, we can no longer draw from that inexhaustible reservoir of eternal existence. So we become exhausted. There is nothing to fall back upon. Life is one perfect wholeness. The universe is a unit. God is one. It is impossible for man to feel separated from the Spirit without feeling lost and in want. This is why Jesus said he could do nothing of himself, but could work only as the currents of divinity ran through his personal mentality. That subtle something which runs through all things and which we call the thing itself, that energy without which nothing can be energized, that life without which nothing can live, that power without which nothing can move, and that spirit without which nothing can be, is God. It is only as we live in conscious union with the Spirit and consciously let it work through us that we really live. Thank you, Dr. Holmes, for that reminder. Beloveds, wholeness is a sense of oneness, oneness with life. A circle that is complete, and at its very core, at its center, at its intimate space, is love. The saying, life is never over and love is never done. Well, I, for one, am opening the doorway to greater good and understanding. I'm inviting intimacy of the infinite to give birth to a peace, a love, a joy, to an abundance that surpasses anything that has ever come before. I'm ready for the world to embrace itself in holy matrimony right here and right now. I'd like to read a statement from the Science of Mind Meditations, and it's called "The Circle is Complete." The circle of love is complete. It comprehends all, it includes all, and binds all together with cords of everlasting unity. I cannot depart from its presence, nor wander from its care. My love is complete within me. The love of God is complete within me. The love of God binds me to itself and will not let me go. I shall make a home for you, oh my wonderful love, and we shall journey through life hand in hand. I shall sit in your presence and learn the wondrous things you will tell me, for you are God. Love sits within me. So I'll end with some questions. Wonder Man wants to know, are you ready for holy matrimony? Are you ready to example and create a greater life of love and intimacy as spiritual beings, each with the other, knowing that we are unique but not separate. We are united in love, and we come together in joy and compassion. Are you ready? Say with me, the love of God binds me to itself and will not let me go. So do you commit to living together as divinely one, beloveds? Do you? If so, raise your right hand and say, I do. I do. Namaste. I love you. And so it is.